Good to have you back with us on Ed Schultz Susan Commentary. Okay, I've given you my thoughts on why I think Trump is getting all this attention. Obviously, number one is because the corporate media doesn't believe that Bernie can win, so that's why the disparity is there. But Trump says shit. I mean, you can't get around it. And I've been wondering how he going to attack Ted Cruz, because he said that if Cruz hits him, he's going to hit him back. Well, he went down the road of energy and faith and also qualification. First of all, Trump down in Iowa over the weekend, somebody ought to tell him that ethanol is not as big an energy play as it used to be. And the public is leery of ethanol because there are surveys out there that show and studies out there that show that actually it costs more energy to produce ethanol and get it into our fuel than it does not to produce it. But that's a fight for another day. Bottom line here is that he tries to pin big oil on Ted Cruz.
Well, look, he's from Texas. To the best of my knowledge, there's a lot of oil in Texas, right? So, he gets a lot of money from the oil companies, and he's totally against ethanol and everything else you're talking about. If Ted Cruz is against ethanol, how does he win in Iowa? Because that's very anti-Iowa. I don't know how he wins in Iowa.
Well, now, Mr. Trump, what you got to do if you really want to hit him is ask him where he stands on the farm bill, because most conservatives are against the farm bill. And Mr. Trump, where do you stand on the farm bill? This country has always dealt with food security and to make sure that our producers are out on the land, and I'd be anxious to know what his position is on that. For Cruz, he's against all government involvement and everything, wants to privatize everything. Then he goes on to sell his faith, Trump does, saying that, hey, he's no bigger a Christian than I am.
Iowa's so important to me. I could say, let's not do. I am an evangelical. I'm a Christian. I'm a Presbyterian. So I think we're going to do, we're doing really well with the evangelicals. And by the way, and again, I do like Ted Cruz, but not a lot of evangelicals come out of Cuba, in all fairness. It's true. Not a lot come out, but I like him nevertheless.
And if you're an evangelical, Mr. Trump, maybe you can tell us when was the last time you went to church? Because when it comes to church attendance, evangelicals show up probably more than any other facet of the Christian faith. Maybe it just doesn't mean that much to go to church. I don't know. But I don't buy this faith line that Trump is throwing out there. But that's one of his attack options that he's using on Ted Cruz. Then there's the qualifications. They're just stating that Cruz isn't qualified to be president of the United States.
I don't think he's qualified to be president.
Why not?
Because I don't think he has the right temperament. I don't think he's got the right judgment.
What's wrong with this temperament?
Well, you look at the way he's dealt with the Senate, where he goes in there like frankly, like a little bit of a maniac. You're never going to get things done that way. You can't walk into the Senate and scream and call people liars and not be able to cajole and get along with people. He'll never get anything done, and that's the problem with Ted.
Oh, come on. You know you liked green eggs and ham, Mr. Trump, on the Senate floor. He's got Cruz pegged. He's against everything. He's a malcontent in the Senate with the Republicans. He wants the spotlight more than anybody else. So what is this a product of? Why is Trump resonating with more Republicans than any other candidate? It might have something to do with all the propaganda the right wing has put out about President Obama. Listen to Lindsey Graham.
Well, there's about 40% of the Republican primary voter who believes that Obama was born in Kenya as a Muslim. There's just a dislike for President Obama that's visceral. It's almost irrational. I can promise you this. You're not going to win 270 electoral votes if you don't grow the vote with the Hispanic community. When you look at polling, which Mr. Trump's obsessed with, he has the worst numbers of any Republicans with Hispanics by far, because he demonizes illegal immigrants, and many of the illegal immigrants have U.S. citizen relatives. So I can promise you Hillary Clinton will clean his clock, that he can't grow this party, that he represents a level of intolerance and sort of cartoon policy.
Tolerance? The Republicans are talking about tolerance? after what they've tried to pin on President Obama for the last 7 years? Let's go back and play that sound cut one more time and just listen to the front end of it. Here it is.
Well, there's about 40% of the Republican primary voter who believes that Obama was born in Kenya as a Muslim.
Oh, now where in the world did they ever get that idea? Must have been the Democrats, huh? Must have been the liberals. This is Ed Schultz News and Commentary, brought to you by Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team. We're back tomorrow.